Going on, guys? Victor here with a brand new video, and in this video I'm going to talk about the top winners from UFC 257. We pretty much had it all. We had decisions, we had finishes, we had submissions. Like I said, we had it all with UFC 257. We definitely had some top performers. We had a lot of people that really stood out as well. Obviously, one of the fighters I want to talk about is Joanne Calderwood, who did fight Jessica Eva Y on the main card. Both these girls really didn't like each other. There's a lot of crap that was being talked on Twitter, on social media as a whole. A lot of bad blood basically brewing from the last couple of years. So this fight was basically in the making for a very long time. It finally came to fruition, UFC 257. It was very back and forth in the first round. Obviously, a lot of dirty boxing. It was gritty. There was a lot of uppercuts in the clinch, a lot of knees. Obviously, like I said, it was a very, very dirty and gritty first round. But as the rounds went on, as the fight went on, Calderwood just got stronger, stronger, and stronger. She was picking her shots. She was getting the best of all the exchanges. She was taken down by Jessica, but she got up pretty fast. Obviously, if you get a takedown in an MMA fight, but you don't dish out any damage, if you don't do anything with that takedown, the judges aren't really going to count that as a quality takedown, and there's not going to make a difference in their eyes. The fight goes to a decision. So obviously she did get the takedown, but Joanne was able to get back up pretty fast, and then she was just starching Jessica with the knees, with the elbows, with the punches. And it was just great. It was just great coaching advice from her corner. She was able to utilize on that and really win that fight, which was good for her because she's officially back in the win column. Her last fight was against Jennifer Maia, where she got submitted in the first round. She just didn't look like herself. She was in line for the title shot against Valentina Shevchenko. Valentina got hurt. She took that fight against Jennifer Maia because she wanted to stay active. And as a result, she lost, but now she's in the win column. I'm happy for her. It's just good to see her back in there, and hopefully she can get that title shot back in the future. Another fighter that I want to talk about is Makhmud Muradov. Obviously, Muradov just happens to be the only fighter with Floyd Mayweather, the money team, that's an MMA fighter and that's signed with that whole entire promotion. So obviously, Mayweather and the money team, he has a lot of successful fighters in there. So Muradov being the only MMA fighter pretty much means that he's a special individual because the rest of the members in there are all boxers. He's the only MMA fighter in there. And boy, oh boy, did he look special. He was riding a 13-fight win streak before this fight. Now it's at 14, and he delivered a beautiful TKO in the third round of Andrew Sanchez. Andrew Sanchez being the veteran that he is from Canada. He was on The Ultimate Fighter. I believe he did win one of those seasons. And he's also a decorated wrestler as well. He tried going in for the takedown against Muradov, and Muradov just stuffed it. He stuffed every single takedown that Sanchez was trying to go. So basically, this fight ended up being a kickboxing match, and obviously Sanchez had a couple of his moments where some of his punches did get through, but his punches didn't really have that much kick in it. It really didn't deliver any damage. The Muradov, obviously Muradov had a lot of kick between all of his punches, a lot of power. He was mixing in the kicks, he was mixing in the combinations, he was mixing in the jabs with the hooks, with the with the with the crosses as well. And he was just faster, he was stronger, he was more powerful, and he was just moving around a lot, making Andrew Sanchez really get gas. And then in that third round, he clipped him with that right hand that hit him right here on the ear, basically disrupting the equilibrium, causing Andrew Sanchez's balance to go out of whack. He took advantage of that opportunity and finished Andrew Sanchez in that third round. So there's a lot of upside to Makhmud Muradov, and he is the real deal. He is a fighter definitely to look after, and his next fight is most likely going to be a top 15 opponent in that middleweight division, which happens to be one of the most stacked divisions in the UFC till this day. It's right behind the lightweight division, which just got even more stacked with the rival Michael Chandler. So obviously Makhmud Muradov still has a lot of work to do, but he is a special fighter. He's very fast, he's powerful, he's athletic, and he's representing Uzbekistan, which is a country that doesn't have a lot of mixed martial artists, and he's trying to basically inspire a lot of children, inspire a lot of kids, teenagers, that if he can be able to do it, if he can be able to come from Uzbekistan and have this much success in the UFC, they can as well. So obviously Makhmud Muradov is a name to be looking after, especially in that middleweight division. He's definitely going to be making a lot of noise. Another fighter that I want to talk about is Brad Tavares, who did face Antonio Carlos Jr. Both these fighters coming off of losses. They're coming off of long layoffs. Both of these fighters need a W just so their career isn't in jeopardy. Obviously, Tavares coming off of 2 losses. A quality loss to Israel Adesanya. They went the full 5 rounds, so he didn't get finished. And then during his next fight with Edmund Shabazzian, he did get finished, and that was in the first round. So that was a pretty bad loss to a young fighter such as Edmund, who wasn't ranked in the UFC at that time. So he definitely needed to come back with a win. Antonio Carlos Jr.'s last fight was a loss. I can't remember his last opponent just because it's been almost 2 years since he's fought in the UFC. But Brad Tavares came out with a beautiful game plan with the leg kicks, the calf kicks right off the bat. And you could see the swelling that was just occurring in the calf of Antonio Carlos Jr. right off of the bat. It was red, it was swelling, it was nasty. And not other than that, just Brad Tavares' boxing was very crisp. It was beautiful. The footwork, the foot movement, how he's moving around the octagon. You could tell that he was really training a lot for this matchup, for this fight. And he even used a lot of combinations, just definitely working that right hand, that right hook, and it clipped Antonio Carlos Jr. in the second round. He could have gotten that finish, but he only had a couple more seconds in the round, so Carlos Jr. got saved by the bell. But you could tell during the fight that Brad Tavares just had a lot of power. He had more power than Carlos Jr. And Carlos Jr. wasn't really, he didn't have an answer for any of it, obviously. And the most important thing, too, is that Carlos Jr. is a BJJ black belt, BJJ specialist. He likes to utilize his wrestling, get his opponents down to the ground and submit them. Brad Tavares stuffed every single one of his takedowns. I believe he was about 5 of 6 or 6 of 7 when it came to defending all the takedowns. So his takedown defense was on point, and he was just basically able to outperform Antonio Carlos Jr. throughout all 3 rounds, barely took any damage, and got out of there basically unscathed and ready to go for the next couple of months ahead. I'm pretty sure he wants to get back in here pretty fast. Brad wants to get a lower ranking. Obviously, he wants to be ranked in that top 10 again. He wants to be ranked in that top 5 and try to get another crack at Israel Adesanya in the future now that Izzy is the champ in the middleweight division, and he did go the full 5 rounds with Israel Adesanya without getting finished. So there's definitely a lot of upside. Antonio Carlos Jr., I believe this loss is basically because of inactivity. He's only been out for close to 2 years, so he definitely had a lot of ring rust that he needed to shake off, but he couldn't shake off all of it during that fight. He'll be back next time and definitely looking better than ever. And then you had Arman Tsarukyan versus Matt Frivola. Obviously, Tsarukyan had to give up some of his purse to Matt Frivola because of the weight miss. He missed about 1 pound, but he did look amazing. He had so many takedowns during that fight. A lot of people thought that because Tsarukyan missed weight, that his gas tank was going to be depleted. He was going to gas out in basically the middle of the second round. It never happened. He basically took down Matt a bunch of the times. Matt didn't really have a takedown. He didn't have a answer for all the takedowns, so he kept on getting taken down one after another, after another, after another. He didn't have an answer, and Tsarukyan was able to utilize a lot of ground and pound, and definitely working some submissions in there. He didn't really have a chance to work some submissions, but it was definitely a good amount of ground and pound. He looked very, very good on the feet with the leg kicks, looked beautiful. He was going high, he was going low, he was going to the body. Tsarukyan's definitely another lightweight that you need to pay attention to, especially in the UFC. If he can get the weight issues fixed in the future, then he's definitely someone they really need to look after. And then the last fighter I need to talk about is Marina Rodriguez. Boy, she had a lot of trouble with Amanda Ribas, who had a lot of upside. She was basically becoming one of the most popular female fighters in the UFC with her happy-go attitude. And the attitude that she has is that, she's always happy. She loves to talk to the fans. She loves to talk to the media. Her attitude's always positive no matter what. And she backs everything up when she gets inside of the octagon. And she had Marina in a lot of trouble. She was able to get her down on the ground pretty early in the first round. And it basically stayed there for the rest of the round itself. Obviously, Amanda Ribas having more BJJ experience than Marina Rodriguez, who started MMA at the age of 25 or 26. So obviously, she was dishing out some ground and pound, but the second round was a different story. She was able to come back. Marina was able to come back in the second round, really utilize her boxing, and she caught Amanda Ribas with a right hand and dropped her down, face down, booty up, and obviously she hit her with a little bit of ground and pound, and Herb Dean got in there real close, and Marina thought that he stopped the fight. She started celebrating real nice and early, but Herb hadn't stopped the fight. She didn't realize that. She looked at Herb and asked him, "Bro, what's going on? I thought this fight was done." But it wasn't. Herb told her, "Nah, go back after her." And even crazy, even Amanda thought this fight was over. Even she thought the fight was over. So when Herb said, "Nah, keep on going, this fight is still going on," Marina went after her like a bat out of you-know-what. Just finished her right off the bat with some nice combinations, 3-4, 3-4, 1-2, 1-2, and then that's all she wrote. So basically, Marina is back in the win column. Her last loss was against the former strawweight champion of the world, the Cookie Monster. I keep on forgetting these. Jessica Esparza, yeah, that her right there. I keep on forgetting these. I have no idea why I do it, but that was her last loss, obviously, to a former champion. So it was a quality loss. So appreciate you guys for watching this video. Those are basically just all the top performances that I saw from UFC 257. The top winners, definitely winners that put themselves back into the win column, put their names back in there for bigger and better fights in the future, and hopefully they can be able to get it. So appreciate you guys for watching this video. I'm going to put more content out there, and hopefully you can watch more of these fighters in the future, and we'll see if better fights get put back out there as well. Later, guys.